One.
Hey, welcome back. All right, in this video, we're going to work on the About tab of the My Channel view here. So it's pretty simple. It just has some stats, a description of the channel itself, email address, country, and social media links. It's also got sending a direct message and reporting a user, but we're only doing it as of right now as if the user themselves is looking at it. And we're not going to worry about popular channels yet. So I've got it all set. We already did our videos tab. I showed that in the last tutorial. This one we're doing the About tab. And YouTube, the new YouTube's weird because there's no way to change it here. You have to go into Customize Channel, and that brings you to this older version where you can then set it like that here. It's like the older widget kind of version. I don't know exactly what's going on, but YouTube kind of went over and added this new look recently. Anyway, see, we've got it all set up. It looks pretty good. I decided to let you set everything here with a modal, and I did one thing I will show is this pre-populate function. Just a simple function that when we render this dialog or this modal, these values get mapped in if they already exist. That way you can edit it. You don't have to say I just wanted to change my country or just add a link. I could easily do that, or just edit this. I wouldn't have to worry about overwriting things. I can do everything in one shot here. And if nothing changes when we save it, the database won't be affected. But we use a new package I brought in, just a list of countries. It's called country. I think it's called country list. But I just used it to set up this just for fun. But it's got a list of all the countries in the world, I'm pretty sure. And we attached a snack bar to that, so we get a snack bar when we update. When we save our information, it just lets us know, hey, we saved the information. And I set it to refresh the query so it automatically updates. So I did bring in, like I said, where is it here? Countries from, I used a common JS import here. I said var countries equals required country list, execute dot get names, execute. And I installed that country list, npm install -- save country list into the client directory. So really there's nothing too new. I used our created on date, and I formatted it with this new function I put in utils. There's the format date. It's going to give you the month, day, full year. This is how you set it up. Simple function, because our dates save the exact time and everything, so we can get both the time and the date, and we get the full date.now, so we get everything, and then we format it to suit our needs. So we format it in some cases for a time, we format it in some cases for a time difference from when something was uploaded, and we can actually get the date out of it too. So we can do a lot of things with that date.now. Pretty cool. Everything's pretty basic. Made a new tab in our channel tabs folder called About. Ended up with we got a ton of methods. I mean, we've got 160 something lines of code before we even get to almost 200 lines of code before we even render anything. But we got the About tab. So for that mutation, we ended up adding stuff to our user model and our user schema. And of course, we had new mutations to our user schema as well. And then thus new resolvers. So we've got About, we've got links, and we've got country all added to the user model. Don't forget to put it in the model. This is the schema. We've got About, country, and links as an array of strings. And then since we're using 3 inputs, you can also do type input here. And then I just say input is about input, and you don't have to list every single item. You can loop them all into one. The only caveat with that is when you run your mutation, which of course we have down here, our About tab mutation, you say input is about input, and then your input's the input, and of course add it with a graphical higher order component. So you're basically just saying the input itself is an object instead of maybe 3 strings or a number, or integer and 2 strings or something. So, and of course we have state that corresponds to this, except I'm going to call them, put a form after them. So about form, country form, and links form. And of course we've got modal and snack bars associated with that. So why do they have the form after them? Because we need to populate the form sometimes, and our props is already using those variable names. So we don't want to have a state and the props both have an about, both have a country, and both have a links. So our state, we're going to put a form after it. That way we know that's when it's talking about the state, and these about, country, and links are coming in from our query as props. Off of this props.data.currentUser, our query. So I set state when the form is rendered. So in the same function that opens the modal, I await the populate the form. Make it an async function, await that populate. Because I'm using state in the dialog, but the props are what we're using to display it. So in other words, this is props, props, props. But when we have our dialog, state, state, and state. So that's a nifty way to pre-populate a form. Just makes it for a better experience, easier to manage. One-shot save, not losing any data by accident. And this is how you run a query when you have set variables, and then you just add another field called input, and then you just put your items into input. And of course, refresh queries, and then we reset our state and activate the snack bar after our query is complete. You can see how async await is really the way to go for everything. Oh, this is a quick one to get our total views, because this is all our video views combined. We don't have a separate stat for that. So we just do a for each loop on our videos that we're already getting through props. Have a count variable and count plus equals v.views for each video, and then return the count. Unlike map, a for each just is going to do something kind of like a side effect as it maps over. Whereas map is going to sort of return a whole new thing. For each is the way to go here. For each doesn't return anything really. It just does it, and then we return the count as a separate variable we have. And everything else is pretty much straightforward. Passing down props. Using grid again. Typography, some conditional rendering, styles as usual. Nothing fancy. You can check out all the code. I'm putting all the code is up. There's nothing fancy at all. The resolver looks the same as any other resolver, except when we're dealing with an array, we have to split it because we're using comma separated list and turning it into an array.